She fought for what she believed in.
So, Jerry,
Keep your mouth shut.
Jerry, I think this is the most important thing that I wanted to ask you about, because I don't think that auditors understand the impact of how they are perceived on the jury's decisions. Auditors think that if they can prove a constitutional violation, that's it, their case is won. Can you please explain why simply proving a constitutional violation and having the evidence isn't enough?
Because if they don't like you, they're not going to find in your favor. That's why. And if they do, they're going to give you $1.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
So
The jury, if they either like you or they don't. If they like you better than the cop, you win. If they like the cop better than you lose. There you go. I don't give a crap about your goddamn rights. You don't even know what they are anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a clue. You people go around and you think that you really think you got a First Amendment right to video the police? Really? You think so, huh? You a reporter? You work for some news organization? Because that's what it's predicated on. The right to republish it. Now, you guys actually are. But whether or not a cop would know that, I don't know. Qualified immunity is among us. It's everywhere. But if you want to get paid and you want some sympathy, act in a sympathetic manner. Don't say, I don't consent 50 times. If the cop tells you to get out of your car, shut the F up and get out of your car. If you think you have the right to be in it, you're wrong. They don't need jack shit to get you out of that car. Read Maryland versus Wilson. They get your goddamn passenger out of the car.
for a traffic stop, you're talking about for a traffic stop.
Yes. Okay. You know, if you think you have a right to not to ID yourself to a cop, well, if you're in a car, you don't have that right.
Well, if it's a traffic stop, let's just clarify.
You don't, it doesn't have to be a traffic stop.
Mm-hmm.
You can be sitting in your car in the parking lot. You can be sitting in your car in the 7-Eleven parking lot sipping a Slurpee.
They don't have the right to request or demand your ID if there's no crime. In fact, in California, you don't even have to produce your ID unless you've been arrested and booked.
Oh, yeah. But read 12951 of the vehicle code. You tell me that.
Okay, but vehicle code has to do with driving. So this is traffic stops.
12951 of the vehicle code.
Okay. All right, I'm going to put it up. I'm going to put it up here.
1295, and read 4462 of the vehicle code. You tell me that. And then you read the case that interpret code.
Okay, all right.
4462 and 12951. And 12951, they even interpreted a driver as somebody who's standing next to the damn car.
Okay, so but those all have to do with the idea
With
that
cars.
if you have cars and the idea that you have control of the vehicle and possession of it, there's a key and yada yada.
Right.
Okay.
But as far as you don't have. First of all, you do not have a constitutional right not to identify yourself to a cop.
So that hasn't been established.
Yes, it has. That's what
wait,
Hiibel is.
Wait, you're saying you don't have a constitutional right
You do
not
have a constitutional
to
right
identify
not to yourself to a cop.
But wait. You need to put a context around that, because if you have
if you're detained.
okay, but it has to be a lawful detention, and the detention needs to be based on reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. So, and then every state is different. Every state has different rules about identification, but you're talking about federal.
I'm talking about the United States Constitution.
Okay. Because in
And look,
in California, you can't be cited for failure to ID unless you refuse at booking. After you've been arrested and are being booked.
I know all the cases. That was Quiroga from 1993. Quiroga in 1993 said, among other things, Quiroga is a very interesting case, but Quiroga said that not only is it not a crime to not ID yourself to a cop outside the jail, but it was only a crime to refuse to ID yourself to a cop when going through the booking process for a felony. That's what Quiroga said in 93. Then, if you look at like Christopher, whatever the hell it is, Chase C or Christopher S, in 2015, they said just going through the booking process, but they chopped off the felony part. Things get chopped off a lot.
Right.
So here's the problem. The problem is this. In 2000, you had cases say it's not a crime, not a crime, not a crime. Okay, fine. Then in 2005, you had Hiibel, Hiibbel, versus 6th Judicial District in Nevada. And Hiibel was predicated on a Nevada analog of Cal Penal Code Section 148A1, which resisting or obstructing or delaying a peace officer, and they had a separate Nevada Stop and Identify statute, which said that if cops got a lawful ground to detain somebody, they must not show their ID, blah, blah, blah. If you read Hiibel and you read 148, you say, well, gee whiz, okay, definitely, we can hook together for not IDing. So that's what all the cops did. So the California District Attorney Association and the California Department of Justice Post issued a warning in something called the California Peace Officers Legal Source Book. And the warning said, no, it's not a crime, it's not a 148, it's not a crime, it's not a 148 to refuse to ID yourself to a cop, blah, blah, blah. Problem is that if you read the California cases post-Hiibel, that is post-2005, those cases cite California cases that pre-existed Hiibel. And the cases that pre-existed Hiibel make their claim that it's not a crime in California to refuse to identify yourself to a cop if they have grounds to detain you, based upon a constitutional right not to do so, and Hiibel disposed of that right.
Constitutional right. Okay,
Yes.
but the
okay. I would make the argument that you don't have such a right in California.
Well, but let's remember that the legislature amended 148 by adding Section G, which says specifically that recording a police officer, taking video camera, etc., does not constitute probable cause, nor does it constitute RAS, or a violation under A, B, C, D, all of the other parts of 148.
But so what? Okay, they said in and itself.
Right.
They said, but they'll say something that I thought it was going to attack me or some crap like that. Look, no, if you're a billionaire and, Jeff Bezos is somebody and you want to have fun, getting arrested and paying lawyers to defend you, go ahead. You love the attorney's fees. But if you want to be successful in vindicating all of our rights, don't be an idiot and don't be an asshole. Shut your mouth and act polite. Otherwise, you don't have any rights if nobody's going to care about them. They don't exist. If a right is not enforceable, it doesn't exist.
That's the most profound thing that anyone has ever said, is that you don't have any rights if nobody cares about them. And you're essentially saying that these auditors, when they're filming, they need to remember that part of their purpose is to make a jury care about their rights. And if they're off-putting and obnoxious and rude and snotty, a jury's not going to want to care.
They're going to want to bash your head in more than the cop did. They're not going to give you anything.
But
you can dream all you want. Like, you can read stuff on the internet all you want. You can look at, look at this case, look at that case. That's 1 in a billion. You don't have any goddamn. The only right you have is the right to get your head smashed in, the right to get arrested, and the right to get prosecuted. That's what right you got. There you go. And the right to get a a public defender who's overburdened with too much work
Amen.
for one person. Well, you know, people say, gee, I got a dump truck of public defender. What do you want the guy to do? I walk in the court, I got one file.
Right. When I was at the public defender's office, we had 200 cases at once. Right. I know.
They need a goddamn cart. They got one of those
A
metal
cart.
wire
Yes,
carts
it's
with
pushed.
wheels on it.
Hydraulic lift.
Well, they got a cart
Yeah.
to wheel in their cases for the day.
Right. Right.
You know, I used to do a lot more criminal stuff. I used to go to drug court after they passed Prop 36, which was even if you get sentenced to like a regular drug diversion program, then if you crap out on that, then you get 3 chances to not crap out on a tighter program. 12 times a penal code. And then if you blow your 3 chances, then they'll send you to the joint, you know, you're a prisoner or whatever. And it was in department, I think it was 58 in Orange County, and I knew the judge. The judge was a former DA who became a commissioner. I think it was Judge Hicks. She's a pretty nice lady. And she sounded like a goddamn auctioneer. I mean, she processed from that bench 130 cases between 8:30 and noon. 130.
There's due process for you.
Well, I'm not saying that she's good, bad, or anything.
No,
All
I
I'm
know.
saying is,
I
those are the numbers.
Right. Right.
When you know, if your lawyer, I mean, if you're sitting in the courtroom, you want your lawyer to show up. Your lawyer shows up. Do you feel better if you get 1 file or 40?
Right.
What are they supposed to do? Most public defenders now are very dedicated people. Mm-hmm. So the question is, what do I think of cops? Is what I think of cops. I think if you take anybody and you put them in that situation, they're going to act like a cop. They're going to do what cops do. Cops, the DA knows they can't prosecute the cop for killing anybody or doing anything for a duty-related activity. They can't do it. They're not going to win. They get egg on their face. Mm-hmm. And then the cops aren't going to support them when they run for DA and all that stuff.
Right.
They can't. The George Floyd thing was a freak. You know, come on. The chief of police and the county pathologist all testifying one of our terrible guys, Eric Shaw.
Was a no woman in this life, short upon the earth now was her time. Of all the seeds she'd sown and the people she had known, deeply did she touch the soul of mine. She called a spade a spade. She stood on the edge of reason and even faced with death until their final dying breath. She fought for what she